Hey sunshines, it's your stay-at-home mom, Sophie Chanel, and I'm back with another video. And you guys, this video is a little bit different. As you know, I have recently started doing recaps of Love and Marriage Huntsville, but I've also joined Kingdom Reign and have really been enjoying Family Empire Houston. And so this isn't a full recap of the season or anything like that. I started out and I wasn't sure if I was going to recap this show, and I wish that I would have. But at this point, this is my open letter to Carlos King. Carlos, please call me, because my family and I have a show for you. I did not think that you would do a show similar to Family Empire Houston. But when I tell you, my family got some things that we need to work out, and I feel like it's really going to touch some people and reach some people. Call me, Carlos. Carlos, call me. Let's just dive right on in. I am going to be not even recapping, but just kind of going over this last episode. I believe it's episode 7 of Family Empire Houston. And when I tell you, it is so layered. And I feel like this show is so relevant and so needed for our people. You know what I'm saying? I feel that I've always had this idea. And even one of my friends in college, we talked about this all the time, where it was just like ministry through media and interchangement. I want to be able to have entertainment, whether it's scripted or unscripted film, TV, that really just touches people and deals with some things that they have deep down on the inside, where it challenges them to push themselves to be better, to do better, to discover things about themselves, discover their purpose, to see somebody on the screen and say, hey, I can relate to this person. I see what they're going through. I'm seeing how they're changing, and I see how the dynamic is, and I see how they're pushing through. I want to be able to bring about that change. And so I love that Family Houston takes this Black family that is so relatable. Like, when I look at that family, I see my family. When I look at these characters, I see myself. I see my sister. I see my cousins. And I have a group of sister cousins as well, that I'm like, man, I see us in this. Granted, these are different scenarios, but I'm like, if people only knew our story, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. And we're still actively working it out. Actively. Like, I promise you, about a month ago, we were in a restaurant and you would have thought we were on a reality show. You would have thought. It was quite embarrassing, but this is not about me. This episode, when I tell you, it brought me to tears, like snot nose, the whole nine. I was just like, wow. And I feel like that's something that we need in this reality TV space. And not just the tears, but it's just the point that it was like, it touched me. It pulled on my heartstrings, and not the heartstrings that Moses got for Destiny, but I'm talking about the other heartstrings, the ones that's really tugging down deep in there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give some backstories and hopefully I get these characters' names right. So this show is based on a family. The main characters, well, the matriarch is Oscarine Braden. She was married to Frank Braden. So they have children. Those are the G1s. And those G1s are the aunts and uncles and parents of the main cast. So under them, you have the G2s. That's mainly Jamisha, Nicole, Jaquita, I think, and Lakeisha. And so these are the sister cousins. So now there's one of the G1s, the dad. He has 3 daughters. Two of the daughters are with, at one point I believe, was his wife. That's Nicole and Monet. However, when Joy, which is Monet and Nicole's mother, was pregnant, he also had Lakeisha's mother pregnant at the same time. I believe her name is Zena. I checked out a family tree, so hopefully I'm remembering this correctly. So at the time, he was not married to Nicole and Monet's mother. So he has Zena pregnant, Joy pregnant, same time. They both have their daughters. But he continues to stay with Joy, and he does not raise his daughter Lakeisha. So 7 years go by, and one of his sisters goes to get Lakeisha when she was 7 years old and brings her around her family. So during previous episodes, Joy, which is Nicole and Monet's mother, she goes and talks to Lakeisha, which is the other baby, who her at one point husband, or is now husband, other child. Hopefully I'm making sense with this. Maybe I'll insert pictures so it'll make sense. And so Joy is talking to Lakeisha, and at this point we know that Lakeisha's mother has recently passed. And so she's talking to her, and Joy expresses frustration that one of her ex-husband or husband's sisters put their nose in their business and went and got her. And I was just like, man, that must be difficult to hear, that your dad's wife or ex-wife expresses to you that your aunt should have minded her business, because ultimately I took that as like you saying like you just didn't want me around. And that has to be difficult to hear as, even an adult. A lot of these childhood wounds, they still affect us, and people don't really realize how much that they affect you until you're in a situation where you're triggered. And I can see how that could have been triggering. So it gets back to Jamisha and her sister, I think it's Chiquita, that Joy's saying this about their mom, because it was their mom that went and got Lakeisha when they were little. And so the mom is kind of like frustrated because Joy also says, she should have been minding the business at her own house and what her husband was doing. So I'm assuming like that may have been some outside dipping and dabbling over in her household. And this is what I don't understand. That's just so disheartening for me, is that a lot of times when somebody feels like they're being taken down, they're gonna bring down whoever else they can think about to bring them down as well. Instead of just owning and standing in your stuff, just stand in it. You don't have to bring somebody else down because you're down. You don't have to make somebody else look bad because you look bad. Like, just own it. Like, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said it. I shouldn't have done it. We should have done our part to make sure that you were around, included. You don't have to bring all this extra stuff in, but it's just like, why are we like that as people? You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's like, it really reminds me of that crabs in a barrel mentality. It's like, I'm pulling you down with me. If I'm going down, we all going down. It's like, just stand in your stuff. Take accountability, but do better and move forward with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, ugh. But anyway, they end up having a meeting, a family meeting. They have like a crawfish boil. Is it the crab boil, crawfish boil? One of them. And it's brought to the table. It results into this massive blow up. And it's just so unfortunate. Like, you can sense the hurt behind it, because on the one hand, it's like Lakeisha is hurt because they're telling her, Joy is saying, y'all should have just let, I cannot for the life of me remember the dad's name. Maybe it's Frank Jr. I don't want to misquote, so I'll put it on the screen. Let him handle it. You should have let him go get her. You should have let him do what he was going to do. But it's like, at this point, 7 years have gone by and he hadn't gotten that baby yet. That ain't even a baby no more. You know what I'm saying? And Joy, from my understanding, didn't even want her around. And so it's like, what man is, let me go back. If some men would not bring their child around if their wife or the woman that they're dating is not comfortable with it. But at the end of the day, when you lay down and have a baby, that child is your responsibility. It's not no 50-50. It's not no 80-20. It's 100-100 when it comes to these children. They didn't ask to come here. It took 2 willing people to come together to bring them here. So it's going to take 2 willing people to come together to provide the best lifestyle for them, to teach them things, to help them grow and develop to become the best people that they can be. And it's so frustrating, like, culturally speaking, for my people that miss the mark with this. It's so unfortunate that so many of our people come from fatherless household. It breaks my heart on the inside, because that's not the way that God designed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I can go on a tangent with that. But still, I'm sure it was extremely painful and hurtful for Lakeisha to hear these people arguing. Joy saying that y'all should have let him handle it, but he did not handle it. He did not come. And if it was not for the aunt going to get her, who knows if Lakeisha would ever even know that these people were her family at this point. I can understand that Joy is hurt, because in her eyes, she's like, this man stepped out on me. And another thing I didn't like that Lakeisha even affirmed is that people were saying that he had an outside child. He was not married at that time. So he didn't have an outside child. He just had 2 women pregnant at the same time. And Lakeisha said that, like, no child wants to be labeled as the outside child. It was not like he was married and stepped out on his wife. He just had 2 women pregnant at the same time. And so a lot of times we put these labels on people and on children, and there's this stigma that comes along with it, like, you're illegitimate, you're not worth anything, you are not the chosen one. You know what I'm saying? When a parent or a dad does not step in and take care of his responsibilities when it comes to a child, that child internalizes that, and thus a lot of times deals with feelings of rejection, with feelings of not being valued or being worthy. And so that carries on into their relationships. So then they're getting into these relationships with men that don't value them, that don't show them their worth, that don't, treat them with the utmost respect, because guess what? That's their foundation. You know what I'm saying? They hadn't been shown different by their father. And so it's just extremely frustrating. So I understand Joy's perspective. She's just like, I'm in a relationship with this man. And in her eyes, in her mind, he has another woman pregnant at the same time. So in her mind, it's like he has not been faithful to me. So every time I look at this child, it's a reminder of how this man was not faithful to me. I get that. There can be more than one victim in a situation. I can understand that hurt. So then I also understand the hurt of the aunt that went and got Lakeisha when she was little, because, she's feeling like, I didn't want all of this drama. She's like, I did what I thought was the right thing, which if my brother has another baby out here, this girl is my niece. So she's just as much a part of this family as anybody else. So she needs to be around. And I have so much respect for her for that, because I wish that somebody would have done that same thing for me. I did not meet my dad until I was 14, 15 years old. And I was told so many different stories by so many different people. But I had wished, and this is what this show has done for me. It allowed me to see, wow, and this was something I already knew, but it allowed me to put life to it. That I wish that somebody on my dad's side of the family had said, you know what? This is my niece. This is my granddaughter. This is your child. You need to go and get your child. She needs to be a part of this family. She is a part of this family. And I did not have that confidence that Lakeisha had when she said, I'm not an outside child. I didn't have that confidence. And I'm finding that I'm gaining that with this show. But that's neither here nor there. However, I think that aunt, I give her the utmost respect, because a lot of people, and I feel like this is another thing I have an issue with, we're so prone to be in this whole thing of, I'm minding the business that pays me, I'm minding my own business. What happened to the village? You know what I'm saying? People need a village. Everybody wants to just mind their own business and mind this and mind that, and there's people out here suffering. People are out here unaliving themselves every day because they don't believe or know or see that they have a village, because everybody just minding their own business. And it's like, that's not what we're here for. We're here to lean on each other. We're here to lift each other up. How can we ever get ahead if we only minding the business that pays us? And half the time, the business that you think is paying you is not really even paying you. It's draining your account. Okay. But that's another story for another day. But the most disappointing thing for me is that when they come inside, because things get heated, things blow up outside at this crawfish boil. And Lakeisha gets up, she yells, and she's just, because at this point it's like everybody's having this argument. Monet wants to protect her mom and, her dad. Jamisha, her and her sister, they want to protect their mom, which is the aunt. And it's just like Lakeisha, I felt so bad for her because she didn't have a mother there. She did not have that advocate that I would have liked for her to have, until her sister stepped in. And this was the first time that I said, Nicole gets so much respect from me. At first, I thought she was on the fence when it came to it. And I can imagine what it's like to be in her position, to be in the middle, because it's like your mom, you want to be able to defend your mother. But then on the other side, you also, it's like you have this sister. And so I always felt like Nicole's loyalty was to her mother, which I cannot even be mad at. However, I'm always on the side of right, regardless. Mom, dad, indifferent. I'll tell you, even if it's behind closed doors, but you gotta do the right thing. And Nicole stood up, and I was just like, thank you, Nicole. You have a fan in me now, girl. You got a fan in me now. Not that, she cares, but I appreciated her so much because she came off as unbiased, but she also was an advocate for her sister. And I respected that, because in that moment, I felt like Lakeisha needed an advocate. And sometimes that's all people want, is just to know that somebody sees me. Somebody hears where I'm coming from. Somebody understands. You know what I'm saying? And she was that for her. So I loved how they came together with the prayer, even though I felt like Lakeisha was just kind of like, I'm over it. But the most disappointing thing for me was the dad. And so many dads, it just kind of takes me back to the video that I did about Marquez and from Love and Marriage Huntsville, Trisha's husband. Like, where are the real men? Because his justification was that he was sending money for child support. No, it wasn't a glitch. I just had to take a moment. Money, child support, material things never equates to being a good parent. I'm gonna say it again. Money, child support, food, cars does not equate to being a good parent. You have to be there. You have to be present. You have to spend quality time. You have to teach things to your children that money does not do. You know what I'm saying? Money is not going to tell you how to be a good person. Money don't teach you how to read. Money does not teach you how to ride a bike. You know what I'm saying? It does not teach you principles, ethics, morals, being able to have respect and show respect and receive respect. You know what I'm saying? And so I wish that we would just come out of this mindset that like, oh, because I sent money, I did my part. What? If that's the case, then anybody could be a dad. You just give somebody money and that makes you a good father? No, sir, I need you to go back to the drawing board. It's never too late to make it right. It's never too late to make it right. I just really have to come in, Carlos King, Kingdom Reign, because y'all really did the thing with this. And I feel that it has opened up the doors to communication for a lot of different families to have this discussion because they see themselves within this family. They see it's so relatable. They see situations that have been swept under the rug and now they're able to like have open dialogue and discussion about it. And it's so needed for our community. So Carlos, like I said, give me a ring. I got some show ideas for you. And I think you'll like them. I think it'll be a nice little lineup on your roster. Okay, give me a call. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know, will you be tuning in if there is a season 2 for Family Empire Houston? Will you be tuning in? And also, what other cities do you think that they should keep, Kingdom Reign should keep this going? Should they do other cities? And what city should be next, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.